So welcome everybody. Thanks for being on tonight. Sorry we couldn't post a reminder. Clearly Facebook and Instagram was down all day long, which is kind of a blessing in disguise.
I'm gonna go say goodnight to Dad.
Okay, make it quick. Um, but we are so excited for tonight's call. The Fit First Glory Sisters and the Radiant Tribe. Um, we're so excited for tonight's call. As you guys know, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Patrice and I just got back from leadership yesterday, and it was absolutely incredible. And so tonight, we're excited to just share our takeaways. We actually had a guest speaker lined up, and some things fell through. And as I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what? This could actually be a really cool thing. I think that maybe this was just the Lord. Because so many of you guys have asked me today, like, I can't wait to hear your takeaways from leadership. And I'm like, well, we're actually going to do that as our topic for tonight's team call. So that's pretty perfect. But we're excited to just to share our takeaways and kind of share from our hearts, like things that we left challenged by and ready to take action on. Okay, good night, sweet girl. Love you. And to take action on and put into play in our business. And so that's kind of what we're going to do. So before we kick things off really quickly, I did want to take a second and just shout out everyone who hit Success Club last month in September. I know that it was a hard month, y'all. I felt it like literally. I mean, you can ask Patrice. I was like, we were at like the kickoff, like elite night dinner, and I was like, I'm sitting at Success Club 4. Like, I hope this girl checks out. I had sent out so many share cards, but like nobody was checking out. And so I was there with you guys in the struggle, but we made it through. And so many of y'all just helped people change their lives last month and get started changing their lives. And so I just want to shout you guys out to Shay, who's led the charge, and Patrice, and Caroline, and Ashley, and Ashlyn, and Lauren, and Emily, and Kirby, and Hannah, who hit Success Club 5 and higher. I'm just so proud of you guys, and I'm excited about October. Like, it's going to be an incredible month. We've got so many things coming down the pipeline. I'll share that in just a second, but also just want to shout out our top recruiters for this week, as well as our top volume earners. So Ashley, Kirby, and Shay, all with 2 recruits, and lots of girls with 1 recruit. So way to go, guys. You know, it's just cool to see the mission continue to expand. It really is amazing. And then to our top volume earner from this week, Samantha, I'm so proud of you, and just your consistency and how you continue to show up. So it's really cool to see that as well, see that compound effect start to happen. So but lots of things happening this month. As a reminder, this is all pinned at the top of the team page. But obviously Team Cup kicked off on Friday, and you have until tomorrow to get plugged into a Team Cup team if you're not on one. This is an incredible way to just grow your business, collaborate with other people, build community.
Mommy,
1 second. Share your goals. And so, you know, make sure you get on a Team Cup team if you don't have one. If you need a Team Cup team and you haven't found anybody to join you yet, just reach out to your upline. Reach out to me. Send me a personal message. Like, I would love to help you find a team. It doesn't have to be girls from our team. It could literally be like someone you met on Instagram that's a coach who's really rocking it. So don't take your foot off the gas. And then also, shh, I'm talking. I'm on a call. Shh. Sorry, guys. My kids are so thrown off from this weekend. And then just make sure, too, that you mark your calendars for the action hours we have happening. These are seriously game changers. I always say that success leaves clues. And so jump on, learn from other coaches. Our diamond coaches and above especially are there for a reason. They're leaders for a reason. And so jump on, pick their brains. You're going to find that every single girl on this team does their action hour, power hour, whatever you want to call it, a little bit differently. But I think we all, I mean, I get on them all the time, and I'm like, wow, I love how Anna Bay set that up. I love how she framed that up. I love how Shay did that. So I learned from these girls too, because we all have a different approach in the business. And it's really, really cool and really beautiful. So you'll find the way that works for you, because what feels authentic to you might feel weird to someone else. So jump on those because they really are such a game changer. And then also just wanted to mention too that we have super weekends happening all over on October 15th through the 17th. You can actually go to teambeachbody.com. There's a map that shows you if there's one happening near you. Again, get at these live events, guys. Everything Patrice and I are going to be talking about tonight. I mean, live events are so powerful. So if you've got one near you, take advantage. Go meet some people in your town or near your town. I promise you it's going to be really encouraging for you. And then last thing is the body launch. So BOD Interactive launch. Right now, as I know it, it's set for October 15th. So just mark your calendars for that because we've got a lot of stuff we're working on for that and just helping move your businesses forward. So, all right, I think that's everything. I can breathe now. But I'm going to go ahead and if it's cool with you, Patrice, I'm going to throw it over to you first just so I can go get this child back in her bed. But for those of you who don't know, I just want to introduce Patrice really quick because I know we don't always do team calls together. And I probably should have introduced myself because I may not even know all of you guys from the Radiant Tribe. But hopefully you kind of know who I am. But for those of you who don't know Patrice was like my first I have had a lot of great coaches that hadn't really, panned out, but the first few years. And then Patrice came on the scene. I was actually in labor with Emmeline or about to have her. And Patrice messaged me about coaching. And it's so funny because I was just like, sure, sign you up. Let's go. And I think it's one of those things it just makes me laugh all the time because you never know who your next rock star coach is, legitimately. And when I signed her up, I was just kind of oh, we'll see if this girl pans out. That's just kind of the attitude I have these days because you can't get excited about anybody. You know what I'm saying? But I was pumped about her, but I was like, I was about to have her Emmeline. So I signed her up, and honestly, I probably did the least amount of anything for her out of anybody on this call who's my PS coach. I don't know if we had to getting started right call. I don't even know what happened. Probably not. But she jumped in and she took this coaching opportunity by the horns and she just ran with it. And this girl was a 5-star coach before I was even a 3-star coach. She has rocked this business since day one. And she's formerly a personal trainer. Sorry, I'm telling your life story, but and she's a homeschool mom, and she now has 3 kids, and so she's amazing, and I'm excited for you guys to learn from her tonight. So, anyways, I'm gonna throw it over to you first, Patrice, and then I'll share my takeaways after you.
All right, hi guys, and all the mamas say, "We get you, Caroline. We get it, right? Only a matter of time before." Somebody is probably doing something very similar. But hello. I'm so excited to be on here. Listen, when she says I was her first coach, I remember doing so many things where it was just the 2 of us. So to have to scroll and see all these faces literally gives me goosebumps. It's just a testament to Caroline and not only her consistency, but her faithfulness to God first and also to this business and what God can do when we give him, even if it's just a little bit. Some seasons of life, anybody in a difficult season, a challenging season, a season that's just a little bit different than the last season, right? But we keep showing up and we say, here, Lord, we give him the little bit that we can, and we watch him do so much more than we could do, on our own. So excited to chat with you guys tonight. I love seeing all these new faces. Like she said, I'm Patrice Buller. I've been coaching for 4 years, a little over 4 years. I live in Delaware with my college sweetheart of a hubby. We've been married for 12 years. We have a 7-year-old boy, a 5-year-old boy, identical twin girls. One is here with us. She just turned 1, and her identical twin sister is actually in heaven. So kind of living this postpartum joy, grief journey. And like I said, just continuing to, kind of fight forward through different seasons of life. I'm so blessed by this business. It's done so much for my own personal health and fitness journey, my own life. I'll share a little bit about my story because you hear all those accolades about 5-star plus and elite and leadership and all those things. And you're probably already just discounting yourself for whatever reason. Oh man, I should, or I could. Let me tell you, God has used Beachbody as a major refining tool in my life. So while, you hear 5-star, you think, oh, it must have been maybe easy. No, but the first, like, I would say I had what you would probably call like a quicker success, was diamond, and then went 1 star in my first year. Second year, end of the year, as a 5-star elite team for our first time. That was amazing. But pretty much right after we hit elite, my team crumbled, like crumbled, had to rebuild from the ground up. And I remember getting on the plane to go to my first leadership in 2018. It was in Vegas. And I remember, I'm not sure if you know Michelle, who's Caroline's upline, and also, her best friend, who's a close friend of mine, Summer. Like, they literally had to talk me onto that plane because I felt so inadequate to go to leadership. I felt like a fraud. Like, I'm rolling up as a 5-star, yeah, but I have no team, right? Like, I'm going home to no team. What, like, Lord, what is this? What are you doing? And I just remember feeling like I couldn't go. I didn't want to get on the plane. I was like, Beachbody brings out the worst in me. Lord, if you want me to quit, I will quit. I'll be done. And I remember feeling him say, you're where I want you, right? Like, you were chasing some real, hardcore shiny things. And now you're where I want you. I want you here, but you got to do it my way. And I remember the heart shift. I remember, the perspective change. And he's so faithful to do that when we ask. And so that was one of my biggest, things at the beginning. Was I did see that quick success. So I kind of ran with it and I started chasing it. And that became the focus, right? It was more like about points and about, the bling and the swag and the over people. And that can never be. It has to be people. People have to come first. And so it was a very humbling first leadership. And then from there, he's continued just to use this business. I'm thankful, right? Use it to just chip away at some yucky parts, to just make me more like him. And so super thankful for that. But so I had my first leadership in Vegas, and my second one was in Scottsdale, and that was amazing. Third one, virtual. This one was my fourth leadership. And so this one, I actually wasn't really looking for something big. I usually in the past, I'm like, okay, I want something big, these big aha moments, but this, because of the season that of life that I'm in, I needed my fire kind of relit. Like, I needed to get excited about my personal health and fitness journey, and the business and all of that again. And so that's what I wanted, kind of a back to the basics almost, getting back to the why we do this business. I'm struggling in my personal health and fitness journey. I can admit that. Again, postpartum, grief, joy, it's a lot. I've never dealt with this before, coming off of a twin, so things are just different. I'm stuck in that comparison game and, reminding myself, like, we don't need to compare, not even to ourselves, to our old selves, because that's where I'm constantly feeling defeated, is, comparing to where I used to be. And so just allowing God to do something new. Like, what is the new thing that you want to do with me, right? I am changed. I'm going to constantly be changed, what does that look like in this season? So I needed a refresh, and I'm so thankful for just kind of how that played out this weekend. So I'm going to share my top takeaways. If you have any questions, I'm literally an open book. So just let me know. So the first one was always be a student. And this came from Julie Voorhees the first day. She said that, along with being present and some things that I was like, okay, wow, I needed to hear that. There's this inclination to like learn and want to share right away, right? Whether it's our time with Jesus or personal development or whatever. And sometimes it's okay to just be, right? To be present in that moment, to allow God to speak to us and it be just for us, and not feel that pressure to like have to share right away, because that's what we do. We get to share some of those things to build others up and all that. And it's a beautiful thing. But, in that moment, I needed to hear, it's okay to just be here. Your clients are going to be fine for the week. Your coaches are going to be fine for the week. Be a student, right? And as leaders, which if you're on this call, you are a leader. You're pouring out, whether it's to your social media, you're pouring out to, your families, you're pouring out to your clients, your coaches, right? Like, we're constantly pouring out, and we have to remember that we do need to fill our own cups up and be poured into, and discipled and all of that as well. And so I needed to hear that, like, be a student. It's okay. So that was number one. Number two was have the big goals. But I loved how Micah Folsom said, connect those to your life goals. That was huge for me, because without that, it's really empty, right? I can say till I'm blue in the face, I want to be, whatever star diamond, I want to be this, I want to be that. But if there's not a why behind it, so for an example, one of my goals, and I know it's Caroline's goal too, is 10-star, just because it makes sense for my business centers. It makes sense for, kind of how my legs are. It's not because it sounds good, looks good. I'm done with those type of goals. It literally is, it makes sense for my business as I'm building deep with my second and third and so on. So I have that as a goal. Okay. Probably 2022 is the goal, but just simply chasing 10-star, that's going to get old really fast. Right. But if I say back to my why, which has changed, and it's okay for your why to change, it's going to, mine has changed a lot. My why right now really is, I want to bring my husband home. And it used to be almost like a pipe dream, like, oh yeah, if I could type of dream. But now I'm like, no, like I'm working towards that. And so in order for that to happen, the almost vehicle for that to happen is, what comes along with 10-star as far as the quarterly bonuses that come with it and all of that. So now I've attached a dream, my life kind of vision, my life goals to the Beachbody goal. And that's a little bit deeper. Does that make sense? Versus just, I want to be a diamond because it sounds good. I want to be a 2-star because it sounds good, right? Like attach that to your life. So then on those days where you don't want to show up, in those seasons where it is hard, you're not just shooting for a star diamond or a diamond. That's going to be fleeting. That's going to not keep you showing up. But working for X to be home or to pay off that debt or to whatever that Y is, that's going to keep you showing up. So I love that. Have the big goals. And of course, we know through this team, our goals have to be filtered through, our Jesus filter and making sure that he's the point, we're pleasing him. And then the goals follow. They can't be the first main thing. Number 3 was collaborating with other people with big goals. We know how that feels, maybe to be in a thread or, in a kind of group where the goals aren't the same. And so you maybe either feel like you're dragging or you're pulling, but like surround yourself with other people that are like-minded, but also have, those big goals that you have. And big looks differently to everybody, right? Your goals don't have to be my goals or Caroline's goals. Your goals are your goals, but what is that goal for you? Surround yourself with other people that are going for that too. So you guys can build each other up and continue to help each other level up. Number 4 was embrace both the grow and the slow seasons. I don't know that it was said just like that, but that's how I took it. I remember this time last year, I was actually in the NICU after being in the hospital for a month on bed rest away from my family. And for me, I watched God sustain my business as like I said, gave him the very little bit that I had. It wasn't a lot. So I watched that and what that looked like. And I learned to embrace those growth seasons that feel really good, right? Those mountaintop seasons, those, hitting this success club or, doing this, my coach is doing this. But then guess what? That's not always going to be like that. There's going to be seasons where there's, ebbs and flows, they're called in the business. And you need to hear that. So you don't think that something's wrong with you. So you don't think that something's wrong with your team. So you think that something's wrong. Like it's part of it. And that's why I love leadership, is because you're around coaches that you're watching their trainings, right? Like, whoa, just weird, just watching your training. Hey, how's it going? Right? Like you're around coaches who they're saying the same things. And it really does help me feel like, you know what? I always say for my first leadership, I was like, God quickly showed me, we all put our sports bras on the same way, right? We all put our sneakers on the same way. We open our laptops the same way. Of course, we do things differently, but you need to hear that, everybody has seasons in the business. And that's what can keep it, prevent the burnout as well, is you're not constantly at like a, going up, 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 up. There's the, okay, up and then kind of like rest and go and then pull back. Your pace is going to change and that's okay. So embracing that. There's going to be potholes and bumps, but the biggest thing is look at a Caroline who's still here after all of that and how God has, completely blessed her business with her faithfulness. So the posting strategy for new coaches was really great. Caroline actually sent that out too. We both really loved, someone shared like a 21-day basically posting strategy where you kind of give your coaches an idea of what to post every day for 21 days. At the same time, they're doing a 21-day program. I just really like that specific tidbit to have. So that'll be rolling out soon. There was an intro video that Sammy had mentioned that she does for coaches to duplicate. So it shares the Total Solution Challenge Pack in a video. It shares kind of what the boot camp looks like in a video. And I've done that in the past, haven't done that in a while, but I love doing that because it's duplicatable. And so you say to your new coach, okay, now you do this video. And what it helps to do is prevent word vomit for a new coach. So if you're a new coach and you go to share, about things and you feel like you're kind of oversharing and all that, it's a great way to say, hey, here's a video, watch this video. But again, you can share that with your coaches, and then they can share that with their coaches, and they can go make their own video, because the theme that I kind of got from this was, yes, it should be duplicatable, everything that we do, but it also should be their voice. And so having them redo it, not just share your resources, which is I'm a big fan of. I don't want us all to look the same. I don't want us all using the same stories or using the same, like, we should take it as a draft and make it us, because you are who you are. God has created you. He has, you have your own struggles, you have your own things that he's teaching you and bringing you through. So it's important that your voice is louder. And someone else specifically said, almost innovation over duplication. Like, we want the rough draft, the scripts, but we want you to make it your own, so that your people are hearing you and your voice and your story, and feeling that confidence in doing that, right? Because God's called you here to do that. So hearing their voice. I love that everyone matters mindset. I am personally guilty of kind of getting caught up in, like, focusing on, just maybe the builders, right? Like, just the people that are running and going for it and, like, wanting to put all my time there, but forgetting that there's a big percentage of people that join us who do just want the community, and they do just want maybe to help a couple of people a month. And that's okay, that everybody has a place here. Everybody matters. The book, Freakishly Effective Leadership for network marketers. I'm sure Caroline shared it too. They talked a lot about that 80%, how that's not only 80% of serving people well, right? Those people that are not your top 5%, serving them well, but also how that's a big part of your income too, right? But as soon as people feel like, oh, they're only giving their time to this person, and I'll never be that, because they don't have the desire to do that, they're going to fall away. But we want everybody to know it's okay. You have a place here. And so incorporating more of those things, the keeping our sip and sweat, like making that a big deal. Maybe I did a couple of months ago, usually we're good for maybe once a month ish, like a game night where we just get on and, like, play a game, or, do those fun things that anybody can feel a part of, versus just people that are working the business. So I love that. Fostering a road to elite culture. Diamond is great, Star Diamond is great, but we don't just want to be successful ourselves. We want that duplication. So road to elite is, let's say, team builder. The very first level of that is you are a diamond, but you also have to have a certain amount of volume. So that shows that you are, helping people, right? And then also comes from Success Club. It also comes, so it's you and you helping people. And that's what this really is about, to drive up not only excitement for the business, but that's the point, that's the mission, is to help people. And also that's where income growth is really going to come from, is when you have people that are doing what you're doing, and then they have people that are doing what they're doing, and then they have people. So wanting to drive deep, that's where income growth comes from. And that was pretty much it. The ratio was thrown out there about how much is mentorship versus our personal business. And that was a good reminder too, is, we have to constantly be growing our own business. I'm good for putting all my eggs in, a few people's basket. And it's like, no, you have to constantly be recruiting, constantly bringing people in, and helping them get started well. So that's pretty much it for me. Again, basic, because that's what I needed. That's what I took. So
Yeah, and sometimes I think it's like those most basic things, and I don't even think those things are basic, but sometimes it's like those little things that when you hear it from someone else, like we always joke about this, Patrice and I do, like if she does a team call and she says something I have said, somehow it hits differently. And if I do a team call for her, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could say it over and over, but when you hear it from someone else, it's like, oh, that was good. You know what I mean? And I think even for us, like when we go to things, just hearing from leaders, and it's like, oh man, that was good. Even if I heard it in a YouTube training at some point somewhere, just hearing it live in person, like it's just the reminder that you need. So I love that. Okay, so I'll jump into my takeaways. For those of you who don't know, I'll just quickly introduce myself just in case there's any new coaches on here who are part of the Radiant Tribe. But for those of you who I don't know, my name is Caroline Foster, and I've been a coach for 7 years, probably, 7 years. I always remember because me and Brian have been married for 8, and I became a coach within the year of us getting married. So it's an easy remember. But it's funny because so many times this weekend, people are like, oh, so how long have you been a coach? Because you say it's like your first, your second, or your first in-person leadership, second year to qualify. I think people think like I'm a new coach or something like that. And I'm like, well, I've actually been a coach for 7 years. And like all these people are like, oh, I've been a coach for 7 years. This is my 6th leadership. So it was funny because like, that's just not like my story is just different and I built slow. But it's funny because I talked to so many people this weekend who were like, oh, we need to have you on a team call because like, we have so many coaches who've been around for a long time and like they just think that like they're never going to get there. And it's like, no, you can, you know what I mean? Like just because you've been here for 5 years doesn't mean you can't still be an elite coach. Like you can build small and, take small steps. And so anyways, I just thought it was hilarious because like every conversation I had, it was like, 7 years, been here the same amount of time as you. So it just made me laugh. But just to share some of my takeaways, and some of them are similar to Patrice's. But I think just like looking around and seeing that these are normal people, like I can't tell you guys how many times I would see someone that I follow on Instagram. Cause I mean, I do follow like probably like 7 or 8 coaches who I just like learning from. And I've kind of weeded out the people that I'm like, and I found the people that I really do enjoy following. And so it's just weird when you see them in person and like you're kind of on the same level, like playing ground as them. And just like even being at dinner and like looking out and seeing them all taking their pictures and then posting them on Instagram. I don't know. It was just kind of funny. And I guess because it's my first time being in a situation like that, like at Summit, there's so many coaches, but this is the first time that it's been like just leaders. But I really just like looked around and I was like, okay, like no one else knows who they are when they leave here. Like even our super trainers, like people don't know who Joel Freeman is at the grocery store. Like Patrice said, that we all put our sports bras on the same way. We all brush our teeth the same way. Like in our heads, we're like, oh, that's so-and-so, but nobody else knows. These are normal people who just show up and serve people and stay consistent. And that is what has gotten them to where they are. And so for me, that's encouraging because I think, well, why not me? I mean, honestly, that's what I thought from like my first or second, especially once I got to NLC. I thought, well, why, if they can do it, why can't I do it? And honestly too, just knowing that like we have the power of Jesus on our side and a lot of these people don't. Like, and I'm not saying that God's like blessing is going to look like blessing us with a ranking in the business, but I'm just saying like, if we're show up and we're working and we're asking God just to multiply that and we're surrendering it, like, I mean, like we have so much more, and, I don't know. I just think that's huge. And just even like hearing the trainings and that was another thing. I didn't even write this on my list, but like I did walk away like, man, what a cool opportunity to be a light in a really dark place. And I mean, Patrice will tell you it gets darker the higher up you go because people have money and they're chasing things. And every night they have on a different outfit with shiny shoes. Like I literally just threw clothes in a bag and was like, what in my closet fits? Like I didn't even hardly think through it. Luckily all my clothes were pretty much the boho chic, so they fit the theme. But it was just one of those things that's like, you realize that the higher up you get, like the darker it gets, in so many ways. And people, again, every time I go to a Beachbody thing, it's just like people are trying to find worth and success in a fit body and abs and like money and success and ranks. And it's just a reminder to me of like what a cool opportunity is for us to be a light. I know that people, like I hear coaches all the time be like, oh, did you see that Beachbody trainer? He said that word in a workout video. And I'm like, what do you expect? He doesn't know Jesus. If you didn't know Jesus, you'd probably be talking the same way. And I mean, that's absolutely true. To me, I'm like, what a blessing that we get to do this business how we want to do this business. I came from a secular like background. The company I worked for before was way more liberal than Beachbody. Like the parties that we went to, people were bumping and grinding on each other. And I was just like, oh, I'm going to stand over here to the side. It was, it was just totally, I mean, it was a whole nother level. And so for me, I'm like, I didn't really get to talk about Jesus because it was like, I worked full time for this company and we weren't supposed to talk about religious things. And so for me, it's like the fact that I get to go and be loud and like I could, if I wanted to, like if I saw that one of the girls posted something on Instagram and she was struggling and I happened to see her in the hallway, I can literally go up to her and be like, hey, I just want to let you know I'm praying for you. I saw your post and I'm going to be praying for you and your family. I know what you're walking through, and literally knowing that she's not a believer. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the opportunity that we have to get to be a light. And so that was just another really good reminder to me, is just that God has placed us here for a reason. And so I know that that can be hard sometimes, but think about Daniel. Like, he was literally praying like multiple times a day in a country where like he was literally going to be killed for doing that. And so I just think about like the opportunity that we have just to be a light in a dark place. Yes, like Kirby said, or that they meet you at leadership and they start following you, and they like start to see you posting and all that kind of stuff. I did have a couple people that came up to me, one girl in particular, and she was like, "Are you Caroline?" And I was like, "Yeah." Anyways, she was just saying how she's not on a team of believers and how encouraging it is to see our team. And so that's another thing too, is like we're able to show other people what it can look like to run a team that is, you know, glorifying the Lord and pointing people to the Lord and making him the center of our, not just our fitness and our lives, but our businesses, because we believe that our whole lives are an opportunity to bring glory to God. And so that's another thing that we get to do, is just show people how they can do business differently. And they don't have to do business just like their upline if their upline doesn't know Jesus, or maybe does and does the business differently. So that's a whole nother thing too. The second thing was the power of community and collaboration with others. Julie Voris said this: a collective force of energy is life-changing. Reach out to your hand and meet people. And I think it's really easy for us to get in our silos. I mean, within this community, but even the greater Beachbody community. And so when you have an opportunity, try to meet people. Like I said, go to the Super Saturdays. Like, you live in a Christian bubble and only hang out with other Christians for the most part, and you're stay-at-home mom and you don't really have like very much contact with non-believers. Talk about a great place to go meet some non-believers. Probably your Super Saturday. And, you know, like, and not even just that, but, you know, you guys might meet and you might build a relationship and you can learn from each other and you can share what their team's doing and what your team's doing. Something that Patrice and I started doing just a few months ago that's been amazing has been, we reached out to a few other girls who we knew were in the same kind of rank as we are, same kind of teams, and they love Jesus too. And their businesses look a little different than ours, but we were like, hey, let's start to have a weekly mastermind. And so every week we get on the phone. We were kind of inconsistent this summer, but we're getting back at it. And we share like our Success Club goal, where we're at with Success Club, you know, how many coaches we're hoping to bring on. And then we honestly, a lot of times just end up talking about our businesses, what's working, what's not. Some weeks, a few weeks ago, it was literally just getting on and talking about life. One of the girls was going through a lot and she was just sharing. And we were literally just like on there, you know, like, it's just cool. Like, we are really sharpening each other. We're like true purpose partners. And so find people like that. If you're following someone on Instagram and she's on another team, like maybe you say, hey, I would love to team up, and maybe every other week just hop on a call and encourage each other and share our goals. Especially the higher up in ranking you get, like when you start to get Star Diamond, like there might be less people on your team who are at that point, and you might want to find someone who's in a similar rank goal as you. And so that could be a really cool opportunity. So that's really important, just really looking for people that you can do this with. Like, find your people, like, be consistent about it, because, you know, it really does make a huge difference having people that you can check in with. And I do think specifically to people who are in a similar season of life and business as you, so that you guys can really sharpen each other. The next thing was realign your goals with intentional purpose. And that was a quote from Christina Delgado. And I know that Patrice mentioned this, and we had a team call about this last Monday. I think the part of it for me that really stuck out or was really good was, and Patrice, I tell Patrice this all the time, but the thing I always have a hard time with is like, I do have goals in this business, but I never want to push my goals on my team. And I never want to be like, okay, guys, I want to get to 10-star. I need everyone to hold it for 6 weeks. And so I've really kind of just sat back and let things happen naturally, which is great. But at the same time, like, I know there's goals that I have that if I just like rallied the forces and just said, can you all stay like solid for these 6 weeks? Then, I mean, there's things that we could do. And so when I started thinking about that, and I've just always struggled with that. But the thing that she said that really stuck out, and I think it was Micah Folsom that really said it, and Patrice kind of said this, but like, is that me wanting to go to for 10 star, for instance, is not like me pushing my goals on someone else. I mean, it's my heart. Now, there might be another girl who's going for 10 star that may be pushing her goals on her team. Like, it's going to look different for everyone, but I know my heart. And if my team knows my heart, and if I'm like, hey guys, I'm going for this rank advancement, I really want to know, is there anyone on the team that really is wanting to buckle down and get to diamond? If everyone said no, that would be fine. I wouldn't be like, okay, well, you need to, I would just go find some people who do want to, but if there was someone who was like, yes, I do, I want to make this happen, that those rank advancements or those goals that you have in the business are an overflow of you helping people get to their goals. And so really it's just me helping it helps me to have those goals, because then I'm like intentional with my team about helping them get to their goals. Does that make sense? So like if overall our team was like, we want to get to elite or whatever, and we knew there were some things that were missing, like I'm going to be more intentional about helping, so-and-so sell a challenge pack their first month as a coach, because that's going to help our team get to elite. And so I think just finding that intentional kind of why behind these goals and realizing that those goals actually help me just be a better coach. And that just kind of was that clicked for me in a different way that it hadn't before. And so I don't know if that encourages anyone on here, but maybe you do have a goal. I think just sharing it with your team, and, not in a way to be like, hey, can you go for this so I can go for this, but just to say, hey guys, who is wanting to go for this so I can kind of know as I'm setting some goals in my own business, and kind of approaching it like that. The fourth thing was take ownership. So put your me on it. One thing that we used to talk about all the time at Red Bull is like Red Bull would give us all these marketing tools, and they would say, pull the levers and figure out what makes sense for your market and where you live, and put a local face to a global brand. And we always talked about that. And so what really clicked for me was, and I've thought about this a lot, and honestly, I think I've done this like really for the past probably 5 years in the business, which is when my business started to take off, is I've been very like focused on building a brand, not just building a business. Like I've always said that. And I think that's why my Instagram did do really well when I first started, especially, is that I had this very focused brand instead of just being a person who did a bunch of different things. And I think that because of that, I was pulling the levers. Like the things within Beachbody that made sense for me in my business, I was pulling those levers down and putting the me on them. And so I think we've been talking a ton about this with Kirby, one of our leaders, but just about your niche. Like figure out what your niche is, or niche. Everybody calls it something different. Your niche is, and figure out like who you want to work with, and then pull the Beachbody levers. Like we have these incredible tools, but you don't have to be a Beachbody robot. You don't have to be about every single thing that comes out. Like, like just because something comes out doesn't mean you have to just do everything, but figure out what works for you and your brand and what you really love and what you want to share with people, and put your spin on it. Make it you. I just think that it has to be authentic. The fifth thing was confidence in the business. When I looked around at this room, Brian and I were talking about this last night, because he said that was the number one thing that stuck out to him, is just the confidence of people that were there. You could say it's because they've had success, and yeah, maybe, but honestly, I just think they believe in themselves. Like belief is so powerful. And I wrote that down too, as my sixth thing, but belief in the company and where we're going. And these people believe in themselves. They believe that they can do it. They believe that they're not going to give up. They believe that they're going to keep going. And mindset is huge. I was having a conversation with a girl who her whole business is like basically speaking to the Spanish market and the Hispanic market. And I was telling her just about some of the roadblocks that some of my coaches have had. And they're like, honestly, that's like it's not that they don't have the resources, it's that they don't have the right mindset. And I was like, man, that's really powerful. Like it's, these are coming from girls who have all the Spanish mind, like tools and resources, but yet they didn't use that as an excuse. And I think sometimes, and I think that's what's been a blessing in disguise for me as a coach. Like, yes, I've been at a snail pace in the business, but I came into this with not a very many resources. Like, my upline is incredible. And the first few years of my business, like, she did have diamond retreats and things like that. But then honestly, when she stopped having things is when my business started taking off. And I think it's because the resources were incredible, but I needed to have that mindset shift, and I needed to believe that I could. And so confidence and belief in yourself is huge. And so just, I think that we get so in our head about sending invites or reaching out or starting conversations or building a brand or posting reels or, making stuff. I get in my head. I went through a season this summer of being stuck in my head. And I just I couldn't even hardly post on Instagram. Like, truly, I couldn't, because everything that I was doing, I was overthinking times 100. And so just know that even as leaders, we have those moments. I'm sure you guys do too. And I think that this weekend, tons of people said they have those moments, but they don't let it hold them back. They have confidence in themselves and belief in themselves. And so they push through. Okay, sorry, I'll go faster. Number 7 was the power of body. So just Bod Interactive in general, I think it's kind of been under talked about. And a lot of it's because the date's gotten pushed back, and it's kind of okay, well, what's happening? But guys, this is going to be such a powerful platform. It's going to be an incredible way to do live workouts with your friends. It's going to be an incredible way to get your community involved. I think doing little signups, I was even thinking I'm going to post in my Beachbody On Demand group and be like, hey guys, these are the workouts I'm doing this week. Which ones are you signed up for? Let's try to hop on some together. And then you can all kind of zoom in, and you could have Zoom going and be on the workout at the same time. And you're doing it live together. Just ways to, again, build that community and just kind of take this to the next level. It's also an amazing opportunity for volume. Because people are going to have a Beachbody On Demand subscription, and then they're going to have a Beachbody On Demand interactive subscription. So these are probably going to be your best of the best people, the people who are super engaged. So just the power of that. We have more coming on that, but that was something that stuck out. Number 8 was innovation over duplication. Again, Patrice kind of talked about this. But I think we're all it's really easy again to be man, if I just had all the resources, this would be so much easier. If my upline sent me Instagram stories to use, or if I had, access to her and could talk to her every week, we could do a one-on-one call, we think all these things, but at the end of the day, the people who end up being successful in this business are the people who innovate. And Beachbody's innovating, they're throwing spaghetti at the wall. And yeah, sometimes they're going to fail, and sometimes things are not going to go the way that we wanted them to. But Jamie Fitzgerald said this, he's a top coach. He was I would rather be with a company that has some failures, some things that just don't pan out well. We all get annoyed that, Bod Interactive didn't release when it was supposed to. Well, things didn't work out, but guess what? I'd rather be with a company like that that's innovating and growing than a company that's just staying stagnant, and just kind of reactively doing things to what other companies are doing. And so we need to do that in our businesses. We should be innovating. How are you, you guys, are you waiting around on Caroline to come up with your Bod Interactive plan and what you're going to do? Are you working on your own email templates? I can probably almost guarantee you that no one on here has even thought about Bod Interactive. And I think it's very easy for us to sit back and just wait on our upline to hand us things. But if you're going to be a leader and you're going to take your team to the next level, that's something I'll say about Patrice. She was owning her team and doing things for them and running and doing her own stuff. She was pretty much hey, I'm going to go do my own thing over here. And I that is what has helped her be so successful in this business, is because she owns it, and she's owned it. And so innovation, the power of recognition and accountability. This is also huge. I literally, for my marketing assistant, Courtney, who some of y'all have met, I put on her to-do list for the week. We have 10 new boards coming, guys, but we're going to have a ton more recognition and accountability. Yes, ownership October. I love it. Let's do it. But we're going to have some boards where it's every Thursday. It's just going to have your current rank. So if you dropped from diamond to emerald, like, yes, everyone's going to know it. Are we going to judge you? No, because we're all going to be dropping from time to time, but there's going to be more accountability and more celebration. Like if you guys are, you hit all-star legend or all-star this or whatever, like we're really just trying to take the recognition to the next level. So be on the lookout for like all the boards. Number 10, your health is not an option, it's a priority. And that sounds silly, but just a constant reminder, guys, what a blessing that our greatest marketing tool in this business is our own health and fitness. Like, I don't know about you guys, but that has been a blessing for me in so many ways. Yes, can there be hard parts about that? Yeah, of course. But also for the most part, like it's been the biggest blessing because I probably wouldn't be as health focused as I am if it wasn't for the fact that I have the greatest accountability ever in being a coach. And so, just constantly remembering that. Number 11, consistency is my superpower. Talked about this earlier, but like I have been a snail in this business. So I've moved at a snail's pace, but consistency is my superpower. Like I'm going to show up every day, whether it's survival mode show up or it's show up, or show up all the way. I'm going to show up Monday through Friday. And I'm going to give my best, whatever I can give. And so I just think that's really important. You can't just show up on Tuesday and Thursday. You can't just show up for 30 minutes, when you feel like it. You have to be consistent in this business. And that's what's going to move the needle. Okay, we're almost done. Number 12 is need to revamp and simplify onboarding plan for new coaches. That was just a top takeaway. I think we need to constantly simplify, constantly just reevaluating our onboarding processes and how we're bringing on people. I think is really, really important. And then last thing was just revamping social plan for myself and my coaches. I think that social media is one of the probably scariest parts of this business for so many people, especially new coaches. And so really helping them come up with like that 21-day plan, whatever the version of that is that Patrice talked about, was a really good takeaway. So that's pretty much it for me. Let's do questions. Does anybody have questions for me or Patrice in the comments? Who was watching this week on our Instagram stories and was like, I am going to be there? Drop in the comments in the chat box if you were like, I'm going to be there one day. Like, it is happening.
I love how you said what you said about the higher up you go, the darker it gets. I literally wrote that down and forgot to say it because it's so true. We all feel called, I believe, to be that light to people that are watching us and bring them into Beachbody and let that be the vehicle where we get to share the gospel and, share the light, right? But it's also, I believe, our calling too is inside of Beachbody, like how neat that we get to, to do that as well. So we want more of you there next year. We want like a whole squad, right?
Yes.
Who's gonna be there?
And I will say too, Patrice and I were talking about this earlier, but we both feel like NLC like changed our business, which if you guys don't know what NLC is, it's basically like, it's very similar to leadership, but it's just for new leaders. And you just have to be a 1-star diamond coach. You have to have like 25 leadership points. And I'll drop the link in the chat box so you guys can check out the qualifications. If you're planning to go for NLC, like you want to be at NLC in January, drop in the comments. I know a few of my girls do, but let's hear it. Who's going for NLC? So 1-star diamond, which guys, 1-star diamond is so doable. It's getting yourself to diamond and then getting either your spouse or whoever controlled account you have to diamond. So like it is 100% doable. Courtney and Shay went this year. It was virtual, but they went to NLC this past year. And it's so awesome. I mean, I feel like they didn't even get like the real experience. I'm sorry, guys. But just to be able to go and again, be around like-minded people, and you're probably going to go and like, you're probably going to go with just like you and maybe a few other people from our team. So you're forced to like meet new people and get out of your box. And, it's just Shay and I virtually partying in Vegas. Yes, I love it. yeah, all you have to do is get your spouse there. So it's like 1 star diamond. And then I think the free hotel, which is a $600 a night hotel, guys, because I only know because it says on there like how much per night it is if you don't get the 25 points. So I mean, that's the thing, is like they pay for your hotel if you get the 25 leadership points, which if you're getting to diamond, then you're probably, and then another count to diamond, you're probably going to get those anyway. So I think everyone should put NLC on their vision board or their whatever goal board, whatever it is that you do, because it really is like a taste of what leadership is like. I love it. Okay, any other questions? Yes, I love it. So many of you guys are going for it. Let's do it. Let's end this year with a bang, guys. I know you can do it. Well, we're so excited. Patrice and I made a little action plans for ourselves of things that we're going to get started doing for you guys, and ourselves, just getting back into the swing of things. Obviously, we just got back yesterday, but we're really pumped to just be able to roll some of these things out to you guys, and just really praying that the Lord uses it this last quarter of the year. Like less than 100 days left, guys. 2021 is going to be over before we know it. So put your head down, do the work. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the groundwork you're laying even for heading into 2022. So Patrice, do you want to pray us out?
Sure. Lord, we thank you so much for who you are, God, for just, breath in our lungs, and talk about basics, Lord, things that we take for granted every single day, movement of our bodies, the fact that we get to wake up and move our bodies, the fact that we get to come downstairs and work our businesses, or when we're in the car line or on our lunch breaks at our full-time jobs, whatever it is, Lord, let us never forget that this is a gift. It's a gift from you to be able to, number one, focus on our own health and fitness, Lord, but then also help other people do the same thing. And that's great, Lord, but really it's just the vehicle. It's the vehicle that you're using for us to be able to shine light in a very, very, very dark industry, in a very, very, very dark world right now. A lot of people are struggling. A lot of people need you, Lord, and we get to be, sometimes the only light that people see. We get to be maybe the only smile that a person sees in a day, Lord. And so when we're tempted to run away, Lord, Lord, I pray that you would just remind us of the purpose that you've called us to, that we would hold each other's arms up when we grow weary, and that we would just constantly be arrows pointing each other and pointing others back to you. Give us that supernatural endurance, give us that supernatural energy, give us that supernatural joy, peace, hope, all the things that come from you, Lord. We don't have to do it alone. You have graciously given us your very own spirit. We have everything that you are available to us through your spirit. What a gift, Lord. And we don't have to do it alone because we have each other. We can look around on the screen right now and see so many women, again, chills, so many women who are like-minded, who are chasing after you. And we get to link arms and do this together, Lord, and get out there and share this with other people, to bring more people onto this team so that we can change through you, help to impact and change the trajectory of people's homes and their lives and their health and their families, Lord. I pray that we will never take that for granted, Lord. So we just love you so much. I pray that if anybody needs some fresh, energy or fresh excitement for the business, that you would give that to them. But at the same time, Lord, even when that's not there, when that feeling is not there, help us to stay consistent. Help us to stand firm, Lord. We want to be steadfast, not fast. We want to be steadfast, Lord, and standing on our solid rock, our solid foundation, that is you. And so I just pray that the words of our mouths and meditations of our heart, Lord, everything we say and we do, how we live, how we show up, and how we work, Lord, is just a reflection of who you are. You're so good. We love you so much. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thanks, guys, for being on. Patrice, that was awesome. Love y'all.